Okay, what we were discussing yesterday, just to give you once again quick recap about yesterday's class. So we discussed about the basic do's and don'ts for the class decorum to maintain. Please do follow that which will help for you and for me also to manage it better. And also we spoke about how KNR Ignite Solutions is unique and hope you guys got it. And I'll also share today by end of today's session all the testimonials link and all other relevant links which you can go through later. And also the introduction PPT that I showed, I'll share that as well with you. And later I'll share this class notes, whatever I'm maintaining here. As it is, you will get this Excel notes for your reference. For all the upcoming classes also will maintain in the same Excel where you can refer. And also if you want to make your own notes, you will be able to manage it. That's what we can do. And also we spoke about the next steps, how you can continue, right? What are the things for you to know? And here are the few basic information about the duration, what we are going to cover. Our classes are going to cover like 100 to 120 hours minimum. That's a minimum hours. And it can slightly extend as well because we'll be covering not just the course content. I don't believe I'm showing the course content and say that this is completed, this is completed. My main focus is to make you confident consultant by the end of the course. You should be in a position to manage project. That's a core intention to start this. Okay, if somebody's intention is not that just a consultant's mindset, or I just wanted to also Alvin. Sure, thanks, Arvind. No problem. So our intention not just to cover the content, also to make sure you should be in a position to manage the project. With that intent, what I'll be doing is I'll be covering more practical scenarios with whatever I have seen and whatever I have come across. And also, I'll also invite other consultants from my team or whoever is working with our big fours and other organizations. They're also going to share their experience. It's like you are going to hear from a multiple trainers and what they are working, how it has been worked, right? So you will hear a lot of practical scenarios, how to lead, how to manage it. If somebody is looking for a fast track and I'm not looking for something to become a consultant, my plan is something different, maybe talk to me personally to see how we can align on that. Otherwise, what happens, these sessions are more focused to make you consultant level training. With that intent, it will go very deep. We'll start with very basics and we'll go very deep slowly so that nobody will lost in whatever we are discussing. I want everybody to come to the same page. For that reason, it takes some time for us to align with that. So let's allow me also to share all that information slowly. Initially, you might feel that I already know this topic. If you are somebody who comes with a lot of finance and accounting experience, like I have seen yesterday, people, there are majority of them are from F&A background. And somebody who might be as already working as a consultant as well, right? You might feel, I already know, it looks like a boring. I know there are some people said earlier, sir, your classes are very good, but only thing is they are very much basic and going very slow for me. I understand maybe person to person, it might happen that, right? So what I'll make sure is I want everybody to come to the same page. Once we're done with a very basic and all the introduction classes, then you feel that you are something getting completely new stuff, which you never heard it in previous trainings. Okay. So like I mentioned again, our class timings is going to be 9 o'clock in the morning, both Saturday and Sunday, which will little extend going forward. Maybe yesterday and today may not be extended hours because the main reason is we are just in an introduction classes. Once we get into the core topics, 1 hour is not sufficient for us to cover in just in a weekends, right? That is not going to help us to cover. If I want to cover just 1 hour in Saturday, Sundays, in a month, you'll cover only hardly 10 hours, not more than, right? So if I want to cover this 120 hours, think about it. So it will go for a 1 year of time or a 10 months of time, which is not good. Right? For that reason, what we will do, we'll try to extend this time. I want you also to prepare accordingly, make plan, your personal plans and everything, so that uh, you will be able to manage this. Okay. And the fees related, we already discussed. If anybody has any other concerns and exceptions to discuss on that, please connect with me one-on-one so that we can discuss on that front. And in this fees, whatever the mode that you are paying, whether it is a one-time payment or an installment, you will get S/4HANA server along with Fury applications for a 3 months of access. Okay, that's a quick about it. And today what we will do is, so like some of you are already asking, and I'll also start with that. What is the course content that I supposed to know, right? So I'll just start with showing you the course content, and then we'll continue with the other things what we wanted to continue, right? If you guys have any other suggestions or questions about the content, do let me know so that we can adjust this always, right? This is not the fixed content, whatever I'm showing it. This is as a kind of a reference material. We'll go beyond this, not just this one. When I say reference, I'm not going to reduce anything in this, but you are going to hear more than this, whatever you see here. Okay, we'll start with very basics of introduction to ERP systems. What is ERP? And also we'll also understand about history of SAP, how it has been evolved. You will understand it. Then we'll get into system landscape. Then we'll understand introduction to ECC and S/4HANA versions, how SAP has evolved from version to version, what is the latest version, what would be the future of SAP, everything we'll discuss. And we'll also introduce Fury applications. Maybe as it is a first time for most of you, Fury, with somebody who never worked on a Fury applications as an end user or anything, it will help you to understand what exactly it is. You will see how is the Fury interfaces, what are the things that you need to understand. I'll just cover that. And then all this takes maybe for us 2 to 3 class or 4 classes. Then we'll jump into financial accounting basics. I know there are some people who are from non-accounting background, though there are many people from accounting background. Will try to touch base whatever is we needed as a accountant or as a FICO consultant, whatever we supposed to know, those things I touch base. Once I touch base, you will get an assignment from here. You can expect an assignments to understand your financial accounting knowledge. You need to complete certain assignments so that you can brush up your basics of accounting, whatever you studied, whatever you've been working it. That is required for us to survive as a consultant. Whatever is required mandatorily, I'm going to touch base in our class, and I'll ask you to complete a small assignment just to refresh and see if you are comfortable or not. From there on, we'll continue with the advanced topics. If you are stuck with this, feel free to talk to me and I'll help you what you're supposed to know, how you're supposed to know, and how can you move further. If you're stuck here and you think I can do it later, I know this, or I will do it later. If you don't complete the assignment and submit to me, that is still okay. But make sure you are confident in those topics, whatever we are going to discuss. That will help you to manage as a consultant. Because like I mentioned earlier, SAP is all about, is going to help you manage your financial accounting transactions and reporting activities that we do. Nothing else. It is a software that helps to manage business activities. Accounting is not for SAP, right? SAP came to support accounting. That's it. With that intent, we should know at least very basic level of accounting. You don't need to be an expert in auditing. You don't need to be an expert in all the finalization of accounting. You don't need to be an expert in financial planning and analysis and all this stuff. But basics, if you know what is what, which I'm going to cover in that session, what you're supposed to know, that will help. From there on, we'll continue with SAP basic settings, what you're supposed to know. In majority of the trainings, they cover the basic settings and they will cover up to 6, point number 6. And you might see that the course is completed. This takes for them 1.5 to 2 months. And they say that 50 hours and less than 100 hours, they are able to cover this. So that is a common thing everybody covers, which will not help you to become a consultant. That's where people again look for a project training. So which is a lacking. That's which I have faced myself as well during my transition. And I have also spoken with multiple people who ever joined in a project and they are not able to survive in a project. They had to come out from the projects with multiple reasons, right? One is a lack of knowledge. What they're supposed to know, they don't know. And the projects are also kicking them out because they are not able to manage the project. They are not able to meet the expectation because they lack the basic knowledge they're supposed to know. Everybody who enters into this market, they are entering as 4 to 5 years of experience candidate, but they are not upscaling themselves such a way that they can manage 4 to 5 years experience. We can understand or relate, right? When we say 4 to 5 years of experience, what am I supposed to know? That things that I should be aware about it, right? That is what we are going to cover in upcoming classes. If you see this, once you're done with the basic settings, we'll start jumping into general ledger accounting, what you're supposed to know in a general ledger accounting, what are the things we do in terms of configuration, in terms of customizations, in terms of business requirement. We'll start understanding the business requirement first. From there on, we do all the configuration. It's not just to straight away jump into uh, transaction code and do the configuration. What we will first understand, we'll get a business scenario. Once you get a business scenario, from there we'll understand what exactly business is doing it. What am I supposed to do for that? Once you understand business requirement, you translate that into technical requirement. That is SAP, how you can implement that solution. Then we will be able to do the configuration as per the business requirement. After that, as usual, we perform the testing and then we'll move all that configuration that we have done into slowly to the production system. Before that, there is a lot of activities that we perform. All those things practically, I'll show you step by step how we work in a project. Okay, we'll start with GL accounting. Once you've done with the GL accounting, which is kind of you have already covered basic settings and a GL accounting. By end of this third topic, if I say, you will be in a position to post some journal entries in your company code. That is the level that we prepare here, which is a very basic need. After this, you should be in a position to complete your own configuration for any company code in less than 1 hour. That would be a target without looking into any reference material. You should be able to recollect the transaction codes or the path, whatever is required, and complete one company code end-to-end configuration and post until GL accounts configuration, sorry, GL account postings, and run some reports for your GL accounts. That's a very basic thing. Always you need to be keep this on your fingertips. Whenever somebody asks you, it's like an ABC. Only when you know this ABC, then only you will be able to jump into other topics. Somebody who is already good at configuring a company code and post some journal entries, until then, I think if you are more comfortable with all those basic things, then you can start with the other things. Otherwise, I won't recommend you to jump into the other topics. Let me learn later, because there is a lot of basic settings. This will take at least 20 classes for me to explain you only this alone topic too. This will take minimum 20 classes for you to understand why you need to do that. It's not about just go to the screen and explain one field. You need to understand what happens when you do that, what happens when you don't do that, what are the other variations that you can expect it. All those things will go very deep in a practical style, and we'll take some practical scenarios here itself and we'll start doing that. You will understand that. Okay. All that takes very long time for us to get into this P2P process. I would say that only after 20 or 30 classes, you will be able to jump into P2P process. Until then, we will be covering all these things, which takes some good amount of time. Then by then you will get more confidence. Yes, I can manage it. I know that. Now from here on, we can speed up a bit so that you will be able to catch up. Whenever whatever I'm saying it, you can easily understand and will proceed. After that, we'll start with P2P process. Once you're done with the general ledger accounting, in P2P process, I just listed very few high level for you to get an idea. So we start with BP concept, which is a business partner concept, and vendor master data creations with master level data. And then we'll get into some transaction posting as usual. Then we'll test all this APP, how to work with APP. We'll do the configuration, we'll do the testing, and also we'll look into DM and how to create a DM, what is the use of it, all those will understand. Then most important thing, P2P process is incomplete without FIMM integration. Always we should be aware about how does this FIMM integration happens, what are the integration points that I supposed to know. And any interview, maybe those who attended interviews or working as a consultant can relate this. Tell me how many interviews you have faced without any question from FIMM integration. Have you guys faced question from FIMM integration in your interviews? Yes, no. How many of you attended interviews and or worked as a consultant and seen this FIMM integration questions always been touched? Or is that not so important? Yes, right. So that it is very much important. You will feel that once we start and once you start attending an interview, you will understand this, how important it is. Without knowing FIMM integration, if you attend an interview, I would say your profile is rejected. Similarly, FISD integration also. So in case you wanted to update in your profile saying that you worked in a P2P process or accounts payable process, particularly when you say P2P cycle or a P2P process, you should be aware about FIMM integration. Only then you can say that you know P2P process. Such an important one. Okay, we'll go very deep in that so that once I complete this topic, it will be on your fingertips. You never forget that. Okay, you can easily remember what is FIMM integration, how it works. Okay, and then R2R process, P2P process. Sorry, it is supposed to be O2C process. Ignore on this typo. It's a O2C process I supposed to explain you. So in a O2C process, again, we'll touch base with a BP concept once again and customer master data that's supposed to be completed. And we'll also perform tending, which is one of the core topics in accounts receivable. And FISD integration is a mandatory in your O2C process. Okay. Then we'll jump on to fixed asset accounting. So how is it different in ECC versus S4HANA? We'll discuss all that and we'll do the complete configuration of fixed asset accounting and we'll jump into some reports. Some reports will run the mandatory reports what business is using, like all financial reports. When I say financial reports, these are all external reportings. Your trial balance, profit and loss account, your balance sheet, cash flow statement, will prepare all of them, including the configuration. We do the configuration, whatever is required. We make all the settings that is required. We'll execute the reports and we'll see these reports live in our classes. Here also you expect some assignments for you to fetch it. Once you're done with this entire course until these reports, that is what you understand, how to fetch the reports. If you are able to do that, that's where you get some confidence. Yes, this is what I wanted to know. I can manage it now. That's the one side of it for you to know. After that, we need to be familiar with, once again, we'll touch base with all these integrations, FIMM, FISD, FICO integrations. The most important thing you see is customizations and also the TR momentum. This from here, this is the real project kind of information where you see very less in majority of the trainings, right? Those you can also easily compare and confirm. So very few people cover the rise of objects or the customizations that we do in a project. Here, what I'll do, I'll bring a lot of examples in our customizations, the live customizations that I have done in my projects and other consultants they have done. I have gathered all those documents. So I'll explain all those, including what is business requirement or expectation and what is that a consultant worked to complete this requirement. We'll look into that in detail step by step. I'll also share all the templates and some examples from previous projects what we have done for you to refer. And I will also give you some assignments here to complete on your own. Only after explaining everything and giving you all the examples, then you will get an assignments. You should be in a position to complete the assignments. If you can complete this customizations, the documentation preparation and whatever is required, my assignments, then in your interview, this is one of the most important topics. Why it is most important topic? Because there is a relevance and important in a project as well. People have to work on a customizations mandatorily because the businesses will look for a customization. Now, whenever I go and purchase something, let's say I want to purchase my car, I will look for some customization. I don't want to take the car as it is, what the dealer is giving it. I need some customization as per my need. Car is a whole product, but still I need some customization. It can be the seat covers, or it can be lights or other accessories that I want. I want of my choice, right? The same way, the business also has their own demands, their own requirement. Their requirement is different from other business. So they wanted to go with customization. Now companies also expect from a consultant, do you know how to do this customization? Now my client is asking for this customization, can you manage it or not? That is what aspect that they are looking in a consultant. But we'll make sure you will get that confidence. You can easily understand this, all the rise of objects, the customizations, you can easily manage in any project. Okay. After that, we'll also get into a little bit about controlling. Though the course is FICO, like I was discussing at a high level yesterday, FI is all about your external reporting, financial accounting. Our CO is all about controlling, which is majorly for your internal management to prepare a lot of reports. This controlling related information will not be sent out to anybody. This is completely confidential information managed by internal people, and they need all these reports like cost center report, profit center reports, what happened hourly, each and everything. I wanted to sell a product, I manufactured a product. What should be the selling price to this product? How should I reduce this product manufacturing cost? How should I increase the profit? How should I start one more branch? All this strategic decision making will happen with the management. For them, they need some data. All those inputs comes from this controlling module. This controlling module alone, it is not easy to understand because the configuration and everything is a very simple and very short compared to FI. FI is a very huge module compared to CO. CO is a very short module to learn, but requires complex understanding because there is nothing that I directly post in my controlling module. Everything I post in various modules, all the data will flow from that module into CO. CO is like a central component, and it collects or it gathers data from FI, SD, EMM, PP, PS, from all the modules, all functional modules. It gathers wherever there is financial impact, it gathers the data, and we just run various reports in controlling module to see that what is happening, how it is happening, and will reallocate the money and calculate whatever I want, how I want to prepare report, how I want to see the report. The business will prepare such a. For that, for you to understand, you need to understand at least one or two functional modules flow. You don't need to be an expert in configuring all the modules, but you should know what is happening in business side. When I talk about this business flow, FI business flow, you should understand what is happening in finance department end to end. What do they exactly do? What is their final goal? SD department, sales and distribution department. In SD module, what happens from beginning to ending? Similarly, in what happens, right? In project systems, what happens? All these things we should have aware. Only then it will become easy for you to understand control, because that is the basics for a controlling to understand. I would recommend don't start your controlling understanding as a first topic. If you are wanted to learn now or later, wherever you wanted to learn, start learning at least one functional module completely end to end with full knowledge. Then try to grab other functional modules like and SD minimum with a high level overview. What happens? What do they do? If you can gather that level of information, minimum that will help you to proceed learning controlling module. Otherwise, it will become very difficult for you to understand. Configuration, though, you can easily complete it. It is not at all a challenge. Somebody gives you the document, somebody explain you what to do, how to do. You can do it without any hassle. You can complete the configuration, you can do the testing, and you can submit the project. But only challenge comes whenever your customer raise any defect or they submit a ticket or a issue, you cannot solve it because you don't know the flow. From where it is coming, you don't know. How it is impacting, you don't know. How to find out root cause, you don't. You need to find out the root cause why it is happening. 99% of the tickets that you receive in CO are not belong to CO. They are actually happening in another module, but it is worked by a CO department controlling people, our internal management team. They straight away raise to controlling module. As a proper CO consultant, we need to understand and assign the same ticket to the respective people. That decision making also difficult if you don't know the knowledge. I want you to get that comfortability and understand what exactly is happening, whether it is really belong to SIBO or not. If it is not SIBO, who's supposed to work on this? It's not blindly you just move it to somebody or FI or ST. You need to understand what is that exact problem, how it is happening, why it is happening. If you are able to find that root cause, then you can easily assign to that person. When that consultant asks you, other module consultant, why that particular ticket has been assigned to them, you should be in a position to justify it, right? So that's what I want all of you to gain the confidence. So for that, first focus on this FI first, so that always we can get into other than FI to learn later. Okay, so see you want everything to learn. Then during this time, I'll help you understand how to understand what is SD, what is MM, all those things. Okay, then it will give you an idea very clearly. Now you will be in a position to manage it better. Okay. Then after that, we'll get into the final project, like I mentioned. So though you get a mini projects or an assignments between each and every class, and you will also have a final project to complete, which I'll call this as a comprehensive project to cover all your FICO concepts, whatever we have learned so far from session 1 to 10. All these 10 topics you are going to cover in this one final project you need to prepare end to end, and you can submit it if you are comfortable and ask for a feedback, which will give you an idea. Yes, I'm ready for it. Or if you don't get a time, you don't want to prepare, I can't force it, right? You take this ownership because it's your journey, your career. You take a ownership and take it further. I'm here to support you. I will help you whatever the step you struck. Don't worry on that. So you can expect any sort of support that you need to complete the project. But only thing is, I want you to take a ownership and lead from here on, because in your project, nobody is going to push you. A lot of responsibility they will give you. If you don't complete, they will blame you or they are ready to fire you. That's all they do it. With the same mindset, I want you to build from here on, take a ownership and start working on it. I'll guide each and everything, whatever you need from here. And we'll also focus a bit on your soft skill development. It may not require for everyone, but wherever required, I'll put that some effort for you to help how to behave, how to talk, how to manage certain issues in a project, how to coordinate with other functional module consultants or a technical consultants, or how to deal with your clients. There will be a lot of situations where you need to handle a lot of things, right? How can you manage all these stakeholders and everything? Then also we'll cover about your interview grooming, particularly in your interview grooming. We'll cover about our resume preparation, how to prepare your resume according to the industry standards, and also will help you with all the mock interviews. I'll take mock interviews, one-on-one mock interviews. It's not a group mock interviews, one-on-one mock interviews, I'll take it. I'll also help you to give the feedback after that mock interview, where you are exactly standing. What is your level of preparation? What are your gaps? What you need to improve before you attend next interview. It can be mock interview or a real interview, the next interview, right? Before that, you need to upskill or fill some more gaps, or how do you prepare? What should be your next strategy? I'll share all that. Now, again, that's your responsibility to take it further, to prepare and fill the gaps. Okay. From there on, we'll continue with your job. You are ready for the market. Okay. And during the course of this time, you will also get that professional network access, like I mentioned, where you can take a help, or you can also offer a help depending on your level of experience. And that forum is open to share the knowledge only. It's not for the purpose to wish or to share any other all other wishes. I would encourage to maintain that in a separate forums, but this forum, keep it very clean and post only SAP related information. In this forum, I have already posted close to 120 plus interview questions on a daily basis, where I was running a daily quiz kind of thing. I hope some of you are there in this group and might have enjoyed it. So you might have seen that how I was running a daily interview question. And the same question I also post across multiple social media platforms to make it easy for you to access. Just a trial where you can try to understand the question and try answering it, so that which will ignite you to learn something new every day, right? Rather than you want to sit and prepare for an interview or one full day, start looking into one by one slowly. Daily one question you look into it. by the end of your course, once you complete it, I think you'll be able to recollect all of them very easily, right? So that's the reason I made it. And also I made summary of those, all the questions, and I try making it into a YouTube shorts so that you also can refer to those shorts whenever you are preparing for interviews. Maybe you can refer to those shorts and which will be easy for a revision kind of. Okay, feel free to refer to them, which will help you. Okay, that's all about the course content. I'll pause here for a minute so that if you guys have any specific suggestions or feel that anything to be added or wanted to clarify, I'm happy to answer that related to the course content. Any questions or any suggestions that you see that? All right. If no questions, I think later also, if you see that if you wanted to share anything, feel free to share it so that you can always look into. Like I mentioned, this course content is a kind of base or a reference for us, and we are going to cover beyond this, not just this one. Okay. From there on, if I want to continue, so what do I have next to continue here is, so one moment, let me get into this. Okay, that's all about the course content for us to know for the day. And let's see that generally, if I want to start with our introduction classes, like I mentioned earlier already, so there is no a restriction or I'm not forcing anybody to pay the money straight away or in today or tomorrow, right? You get maybe another 3 more classes where you can attend and later you can decide. Like I mentioned, until 29th, you don't need to worry about making the payment. By 29th, you can decide if you wanted to continue, right? Only for the next class, I want those who are interested to attend the next class. Maybe the next class is going to be on 15th, right? The coming Saturday. Just to confirm me so that based on your confirmation only, I can send you the next class link. Okay, otherwise you may not get the communication about the next classes. You might miss it. I'll send with only the interested participants so that you guys can get that. Hope you guys have already received a link to join today's class. On the same number, you can reply, yes, I need for a next week class. So that based on your confirmations, I'll send you that. All right. So now for us to continue with the next thing, what I supposed to know, what are the next things that I wanted to know as part of our course, right? Let's understand on that a little bit. In case you guys have anything to understand or have any question, feel free to ask me so that I can cover up before I jump into the topic. Any specific questions, anyone? Anything that you wanted to clarify? We are jumping into our core concept. I'm no longer going to give any introduction or there is no other demo sessions will happen. It will be like live sessions that we are going to continue, which will happen the real classes from today, like I already promised. There will not be any further demo classes. Perfect. Are we all good? Can we continue the class? If no questions. All right. So I consider silence as no questions and will continue from here. And let's understand ERP systems, right? So what is ERP systems? So somebody who already have some idea about what is ERP, I'm not referring to SAP here, just an ERP system. Anybody wanted to share your idea or opinion about what is ERP system? What is ERP system? Anybody wanted to give a try? Anyone? That's okay. You guys can give it a try. Nothing wrong. All right, no problem. So like I mentioned, I would encourage you to participate. That's okay. If you go wrong, also that is okay. So always try to be interactive, and because going forward in interviews also, so you need to be interactive and you need to talk. It's not they just ask question and you nod your head, right? So start building that mindset. You can answer it. Nobody is going to judge you whether you are right or wrong. So this is a learning phase for all of us, right? Don't worry about it. Yes. So I am also referring to the charts. Yeah. So ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. Okay. What is enterprise? What is resource? What is plan? There are three different words that we are combining. Enterprise resource planning. So enterprise is nothing but an organization or a companies who has a resources, any resources that they are using it, they wanted to plan it better to achieve their goals. To achieve their goals, we wanted to utilize all our resources. How am I utilizing these resources? I wanted to know. As a owner of the business or founder of the business, whoever it is, I wanted to know how is my resources are utilized. What are the resources? What do you mean by resources? Any idea? What are the resources? What comes into a resources category if I talk about resources? Anyone? Okay. Human, money, material, HR. Okay. I see some of you, whatever you answered. Yes. Obviously, let me put all of them. Money. In resources, somebody who has done in somebody's line, that's fine. So employment, okay. Generally, whenever we call it as a resources, I'll try to make it rather than more layman terms, I'll make it more uh, professional terminology here to make it easy for you also to understand. Going forward, we need to understand in the same style. So if you understand, yeah, to manage your day-to-day activities, whatever you use it, everything that will be part of your resources. Particularly whenever I see this, let's say in management accounting or in accounting world or economics that we studied in our uh, college days or school days, we understand certain things as something called, I think if I understand correctly, it is a 4M. We call it as a 4M or a 3M. Let me see if we can get there. So men, machinery, material, yes, perfect, right? And money. These are the 4M that we talk about it, right? So this is your core resources in any organization. Without this, it is difficult for anybody to continue the business. We need all this mandatory. You need a man who need to work on it. Not 100% only machineries can do it, right? So without men, I'm not specific about gender here. It is like people. Men is all about people. So and machinery. We need certain machineries or equipments or assets to manage our overall business. And also we need certain materials and also we need money. Of course, if I want to rank or keep them in an order, money comes first and later other things, of course. But I'm not putting in an order, but we need all this 4M to manage my business. In my business, if I want to manage all four ERP systems that we are talking about, this ERP should have a capability to manage all these four. How does ERP systems will manage all these four? I wanted to track utilization of all these four. How am I utilizing? Let's start with money. How am I utilizing my money? How much money I'm spending out? How much money I'm receiving it? Of course, this is most important thing for me to know whether I'm making profit or a loss, isn't it? So for that reason, my ERP system should allow me to track the way I want. This is the major requirement for all the companies. They wanted to know how much I'm spending on my vendors. How am I spending to the vendors? I have a slightly different requirement. I wanted to make payment through UPI, check, or net banking, or it can be in a cash or various methods that I'm using it. One business might use all the methods. One business might say that no cash policy here. I don't accept any cash in hand. I accept only online. Either you do UPI or you do credit card transfer or net banking transfer, debit card, whatever it is, okay, but no cash, strictly no cash. That is one business requirement. And other business says 100% cash only. I don't want to take any online payments or no online transactions. That depends on business to business. Some business will have mix of everything. Some business will have all the methods they will be using. Some business, again, the credit policy will also provide a credit period to my vendors and customers both. My vendor is giving me credit period of 30 days, 45 days, 60 days. And I'm also giving to my customers some credit period. How do I need to understand all this? Right? All this, you need to have that basic understanding, all these terminologies. Later we'll touch base all this. For now, I'm talking about only money. How much money I'm spending, to whom I'm giving, from where I'm receiving it. Finally, how much profit or loss I'm making. Business wanted to see, business owner wanted to see by end of the day. Can I see this? By end of the day, can I see what is the profit for the day? There is a retail business, or there is a food chain restaurant, or let's say KFC restaurant or McDonald's restaurant. If you go to that restaurant, we go and purchase something. By end of the day, owner wanted to know what is my net profit for the day. He just wanted to know before he go to the bed. He can't sit and reconcile everything, or accountants cannot sit and do that manually. If we want to do that, if they need additional 2 to 3 hours or 4 hours, the stores are getting closed at late night in the 11 or 12 o'clock. If you expect employees to work even after that, it will become difficult for them to spend additional hours, or you can't employ one more person every day to do this reconciliation. If you are not doing daily reconciliation in such places, it will be difficult to control, because there is a lot of customers who keeps coming in, and there will be some cash transactions which happens. There might be a chance that there will be some fraud happens. For them to manage the business, what they do, they implement certain policies where I wanted to close that daily. Those who worked in a inventory management, you might have seen that daily inventory, how they upload, how they count every day inventory. You receive that inventory counts for the previous day, and they see in stock, out stock, what is that has been used, what is my final closing stock, what is the value of those closing stock valuation, everything happens. They finalize, and also whatever the cash they receive, they don't keep it in their cash counter. They have to send it to the bank to deposit. How they send it? There is another company where they will have a contract. That company vehicle comes to that store. They collect this cash box and they give a receipt and they go and deposit into the respective bank. Every day, trucks or the van comes to that stores. They collect this money. Employees may not go to bank and deposit it. Yesterday, whatever the business happened, by end of the day, you have closed the account, you have made a total, and that cash amount you have uh, kept it ready for tomorrow. When the van comes, you just give along with the slip. This is the yesterday's closing cash, and I have kept 1,000 rupees change for today's petty cash for me to manage. I need some change as well. When a new customer, when first customer comes today, somebody offers me 500 rupees or 200 rupees. They purchase only for a 10, 20 or 50 rupees. I should be in a position to tender them a change. If I don't have a change, I might lose a customer, right? It doesn't look good. For that reason, I kept some change aside. I'll clearly account it and send the remaining cash, excess cash into the bank. That is the process happens. We'll understand whole concept of this in a cash journal concept whenever we talk. Cash journal is something that we manage. How the companies will manage all this, we'll talk about that separately. Now, whenever we talk about the resources, now my ERP system should allow me to manage my money. How am I utilizing it overall? What is the capital that I'm receiving it? Where am I investing? Everything we should be in a position to try. And then I wanted to talk with a machinery. With the money, we'll also purchase fixed assets that I need. We'll talk in detail about fixed asset accounting when we talk about machineries. But for now, for you to get some idea at a high level, businesses will be using machineries. For all the machinery, you will also charge a depreciation. You need to understand how depreciation will be charged in your accounts, whether it is a profit and loss account or a balance sheet impact. All that we have, you should have a clarity. Based on that, we should be able to prepare financial statements. For that reason, you need to understand what is my, how is my machineries are utilized. All that I should be aware about it. Okay. So, so I need to understand that machineries part, how ERP systems can help me manage it. Then I need to understand men, or let's go with a material, which is another most important asset in any organization. What are the materials I'm using it? How am I effectively using it? Right? How much I have as a closing stock every day. There might be some companies who are involved in FMCG products, or like let's say some company who is manufacturing or producing a juice, which they procure a fresh fruits, or there are some organizations who procure some fresh fruits and vegetables for them to process it. This has to be stored properly. Is it storage happening properly or not? How do I store it? How much I have stored in my storage location 1, storage location 2, storage location 3. They might have a multiple go downs, multiple storage locations. How am I storing everything? So in each location, I can't go and count each and everything. For that, what is the system that I'm using it? I wanted to know the live information. Now, how much stock I have it? Tomorrow, is it sufficient or not? How many days this stock can cover? We need to understand what is minimum order level. What is my safety stock? Do I really have a safety stock? What I supposed to have? Do I have really minimum order levels? All this I wanted to know. If I wanted to go and understand manually, I need to call my warehouse supervisor and ask them, hey, how much stock do you have? And I also need to talk to my production department and ask production manager, hey, do you have really sufficient stock for tomorrow's production? And for the next 1 week, do you have? I'm expecting a strike from next to 10 days. Maybe after 10 days, there will be a strike for 15 days. It continues. I'm expecting a delay in certain raw material. We cannot import it because there is a strike happening, there is a geopolitical tensions happening, cross borders are getting closed. I am not going to expect any material from XYZ country, which is one of the crucial material for us. Do you really have a stock for that period? That owner wanted to know. Now, whenever they need this kind of information, it is difficult for them to go back and check in their records and let me do the reconciliation, give me 1 day time, 2 days time, but nothing doing. That will not work in a business, right? Because if you waste 1 day to just to get this information, they are going to lose a lot of financial benefit, right? Because their turnover is in millions of dollars. No surprise, some companies has a billions of dollars in a day. For that reason, they don't want to take that risk. They want at their fingertips whenever I want, just like did somebody called me? Is there any missed call or a message in my mobile? You can see right quickly. The same way I open my system, I wanted to see that. That level is what expected by the management whenever we talk about the resources. All these resources, how are we utilizing it? What is the status of it? I need the current status. Don't tell me this is the status as on last week. This is the status as on last month. The good to know for a last month, however, today is a 9th November. I wanted to know 8th November data or 9th November early morning status. When I open my office I want to open my office or all my systems officially at 10 o'clock for customers to order or for me to take some orders or do whatever. Before 10, what happened? At 9:57, 9:58, you open the system, just a click of a button, you wanted to know everything. How is that possible? Now, for that reason, ERP systems comes handy. So out of that, SAP is one of the system which has tightly integrated with all this that we spoke. I wanted to know money related, it goes to FI. I wanted to know about something, let's say material, it goes to module. Whenever I want to talk about machineries, it's a fixed assets. Now I wanted to know my employees. How many employees are going to come to office today officially, right? Maybe those who resigned as on yesterday's date or those last working day as on yesterday. I can't expect them today unless there is a new hires. Now I wanted to know exactly how many people will be there in today. Today I wanted to celebrate something at my office. I wanted to order some food for them. So I wanted to plan or salary I wanted to issue them. For all this, whether I'm giving salary and everything, I'm managing correctly or not, all the database that I want to maintain, each and everything is linked here. That is called your HR departments here. That is another separate module for your HR related in SAP, right? This all resources to utilize for any company whenever they are growing. If it is a small company, startup company, they have very limited resources. They can easily manage it by one person. I have a 10 employees in my company. I have a 1 crore capital. I have only 10 computers because I have only 10 employees. Each one has been given a laptop. I have a small office. I can manage it everything better. But whenever I wanted to expand, it is difficult for me to manage on my own because I have to stress out. I have to employ more people to take care of it. That is where ERP systems comes handy to manage all the resources. Think about companies like MNCs, right? MNCs, they're already spread across multiple geographic locations. It is difficult for them to manage it, what's happening in other location. As a owner, they cannot oversee everything at the same time. So they need many people, many systems to handle all this in proper manner. That is where people will start looking into SAP system. Now, I hope you guys got what is ERP and why ERP systems, right? Now, whenever we talk about SAP, so this is where we'll start learning about SAP, right? So SAP systems is one of your ERP. SAP is one of the ERP system. When we talk about ERP, there are many ERP systems. Let me also put those ERP systems here. So let's say whatever you guys know about it, what are the ERP systems that you heard so far? What are the ERP systems that are used by various companies in the market? Is it only SAP? Not really, right? There are many. Can you guys just share your understanding what are the other ERP system that you see? Okay, Oracle, of course. What else? Tally. Okay. What else? Oracle, Tally, MS Dynamics. Okay, PeopleSoft. Okay. D365, Oracle, PeopleSoft, yes. What else? Odoo, yes. Maybe there are many. Every day there are new softwares also coming in. Okay. That is, if I want to go with the entire list, there will be very big number of things. Of course, SAP. We cannot forget SAP, right? Okay. If I go in this list, this is not a ranking. Don't look at this ranking. I just made it as an to see how many we can list it out. We are able to list at least 7 so far. There are many more beyond this. Now, we need to understand how everything is different with each other. What exactly I supposed to know in other systems, right? So this, understand this way, whenever we talk about ERP systems, under ERP systems, we have a lot of things. Why majority of the companies prefer SAP? Why not others? Or what is the ranking for SAP globally preferred by companies? How much demand it has in terms of the companies are preferring. Let's understand that practically, right? So that will give you some strong feeling that yes, SAP is one of the best thing that I supposed to know for now, right? Rather than any other ERP systems. Now, whenever I wanted to know a little more about why ERP system, why companies are using it, what is the strength of SAP in terms of ERP systems, let's know this. Like I mentioned, our enterprise resource planning, which is one of the integrated software system that helps organizations to manage all their business process in one place. Whenever we talk about this, managing everything in one place, which is like I have a lot of resources I wanted to manage from one place, or like I wanted to integrate, and in a central place, I wanted to see what is happening. If I issuing a money or I'm paying salary to my employees, that should not be two different systems. Employee database should be separate, finance separate, and issuing a check separate. Everything should be available in one click or one place you will be able to manage it. That's what businesses are expecting now. Though they have a separate places earlier or currently managing it, going forward, I don't want to do that. what happens? Let's say, for example, instead of using your separate system for finance, procurement, sales, HR, production, etc., these ERP systems will bring them together into one unified platforms. These ERP systems, whatever ERP system that you see here, all the ERP systems has majoritarily this functionality of bringing all other departments, all other systems that we are using it into one place. You might be using various systems for each and every function, but this ERP systems can bring it. Can all the systems bring? That depends on the functionality what they are offering. If I talk about, for example, Tally may not be able to bring from all the modules like MMSD, HR, everything cannot bring it. This has a very limited. Similarly, the others also has some limitations. Where when it comes to SAP also has some limitations, but compared to others, they have most functionality. They can bring almost all the functions into SAP. Whatever the application you are using it, you use anything, you are using WhatsApp, you can integrate WhatsApp with SAP. Whatever the customer orders you received through WhatsApp, somebody, whoever is using WhatsApp business, now you wanted to see that customers, whoever is ordered through WhatsApp, I wanted to record that in my SAP system. These many orders I received for the day. These many orders has been dispersed for the day. These many customers already paid through WhatsApp or UPI. Now I'm using PhonePe. I hope most of you are using PhonePe, right? PhonePe, Google Pay, Paytms, or whatever UPI apps you have it. When your customers or friends pay to your UPI, I wanted to track them not from PhonePe. I wanted to track in my SAP directly. How do I do that? That is called integration. You need to integrate your PhonePe with your SAP so that any transaction happening in your phone can be reflected in SAP. That is the integrations that we need to understand. We'll talk about that in a customizations, how to do that integration portion. But for now, for us to understand ERP systems, that functionality should be there in ERP system. Is this available in all the ERP systems? Answer is no for all, but some ERP systems is offering that. We'll understand SAP, why SAP is leading the market, right? Here what happens, it is like a real-time data flow across the departments. Now I'm purchasing something, or I'm selling something, or I'm paying salary to my employees, or any other activity that I'm doing it in any department, from finance, procurement, sales, HR, or production. I need to make sure the data is flowing from one department to other department automatically. I need to inform again my other department through call or through by any other manner. Okay. Then we need to make sure also while doing this, automatically this information has to flow to the other department rather than I send them a separate email or any other way of transferring the data. This has to reflect automatically as a real-time data. And there should not be any duplication again. Then the data duplication will again confuse. We should not have the data duplications. And also that will help the businesses whenever you have this kind of real-time data without any duplications readily available whenever you need. It will help them for a better decision making. And also they can standardize their processes, and which will help them in strong internal controls to maintain. Okay, so these are the advantages when you have a good ERP system. When we talk about good ERP system, that should have real-time data flow, no duplications, better decision making, it helps them. And also if they can standardize the processes, which in turn finally will help them to maintain strong internal controls. Okay. When I talk about this in ERP system, majority any ERP system, they comes with financial accounting, whatever we are doing in financial accounting, right? Let's say that I'm working in financial accounting department. Financial accounting department, what I need to know. In financial accounting department, you deal with all the money, how much you are spending, how much you are receiving. All that has to be recorded. That is dealt in your FI module. In SAP, we call that as a FI module. Similarly, whenever we go with others, right? Whenever there is a other requirement, now I know what is spent from my pocket, what I'm receiving, everything I'm recording here. And I wanted to know whether I'm making a profit on XYZ product or not, whether I'm making really good progress from one of the branch or not. I might have multiple branches of business that I opened. Maybe I have one branch in Bangalore, other branch in Hyderabad, other one in Kolkata, and other one in Chennai. Compared to all four or five locations that I have, which location is really doing good job, which location is not doing good job, who is incurring losses, who is incurring into profits. I wanted to know that as well. If I combine all of them, I might see 100 crore profit every month, but doesn't mean that all stores are really contributing equally. But I wanted to know equal proportion, who is doing what, how much. When I compare particularly X location is really doing bad job because every month they are not able to meet the target. I'm expecting minimum 10 crores profit from every branch. That was my target. But one particular branch every month they are reaching only 1 lakh rupees of profit. But I'm spending 20 crores every month on a return of investment. If I calculate 20 crores versus 1 lakh profit, which is nowhere it's a beneficial. Then management may take a decision to shut down that business, or they might take a strategic decision to improve that. What should I we do to improve that? I don't want to close, but I wanted to improve somehow. They will look into the painful areas and try to improve it. For that, they need some data. That data comes from where? It comes from your controlling module, which you call it as a CO. You create profit centers, cost centers, business areas, and everything, and internal orders. From with the help of them, whatever the cost has been posted, you try to check and try to run various reports and see in the from that particular location. You try to prepare various dimensions, reportings in various dimensions, which will help the management to understand better what exactly the current position of that, so that they can understand and they can take further decisions. That's what one of the most important thing that we should be aware. Then you need to understand something called in any business that you are managing materials, right? So wherever you are managing materials, you need to know how will we manage this materials, how much stock that I'm receiving, how much stock I'm sending to the production, how much stock I am selling to my customers, how much stock I'm giving to my employees as a free samples or a free goods or a goodies, or how much stock is getting spoiled. Some stock got damaged, spoiled. I cannot use this for a sale or a production. I need to discard it or scrap it, right? All this material I need to manage it, right? Manage this material. Where do we do that? Material management. Material management is again what? Your MM module. We talk about this MM module. So now in my business, I have finance requirement. I have some internal decision making requirement. I have some materials that I wanted to manage it. And then I also wanted to manage all my uh, goods that I once I manufacture from this place, I wanted to sell to my customers, right? Without sales, I cannot survive. I have to sell and make some money. And you need to understand how do you distribute all of them. That is called your sales and distribution module, which in short we call it as SP module. So in ERP systems, we look minimum these four functionalities should be there. And if there is something, some companies who involve in a service-based company, like let's say, for example, hospital or legal advisors, or many other companies who provide only services, that is a BPO company. They do not have any manufacturing process, right? And they don't need to manufacture anything. They simply employ people who whatever they need, whatever the systems they need, they get a laptops or a desktops, internet connectivity and everything. You run your operations. You are providing a service. You no need to manufacture any product there. You are not a product-based company. You just need to provide a service. Apart from that service-based company, there are some companies who are involved in a core business of manufacturing. Anything that you take it, right? So you take any product that you are using, mobile phones, laptops, cars, bikes, food, whatever we are eating, whatever we are using it, each and every product has to be manufactured by somebody, right? So whenever we wanted to have that uh, product manufactured, companies has to involve in production of it. right? So any company who involved in a production, they wanted to produce some product. For that, they also need to plan it better. That you call it as a production planning, which is your PP module. Now, there are some companies who will constantly build their own assets. I don't want to depend on somebody. I wanted to build my own assets. I wanted to have my own assets. There are some companies who will build their own assets for a long-term use, fixed assets. Whenever they wanted to build their fixed assets, what they do, they will also need to manage their overall money that they are spending to build that asset. There are some companies where I also worked very closely in this project. Let's say you also know, right? Now we know in India who are the telecom players we have in India who are providing telephone services. What companies are providing this? Geo. What else apart from Geo? Airtel, Geo, BSNL. All of us know, right? What is telecom players? This is a telecom sector. There are some players in a telecom sector. They don't want to Telstra, of course, one of the biggest player in Australia. Whenever they wanted to build their towers, for them, towers is one of the asset. If they want to build a tower, majoritarily what happens, they can also go for a lease. Not all the places they go for a leased asset. They try to build it. Whenever I was working for one of this telecom client, I have seen this. They were spending a lot of money on building their own telephone towers. If they want to build a tower, they need to own a piece of land as well. They will own a land where they wanted to keep a generator for that, and also they want to protect that place, and they will build this, right? They need a piece of land. That on top of that, you build a tower. Owning a land is a permanent asset, fixed asset for you, and constructing a tower cannot be completed in a month or 2 months. Construction itself will take a couple of years. Maybe certain cases it can complete in 6 months, certain things it might take 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years also. Whenever I wanted to build a big tower, I'm spending maybe 5 crore rupees or 10 crore rupees, right? Whenever I'm spending 10 crore rupees, which means I need to make sure this 10 crore, how is it utilized? How is it tracked? How is it converted into my fixed asset? From when I can start charge depreciation to this fixed asset? All that I need to understand, right? That is managed in your project systems. There is something called a project systems. Whenever we talk about it, that is your PS. This at the, if I want to keep talking about this, there will be some more modules which will be listed here. In your ERP systems, will be able to accommodate all this. When it comes to advantage with the SAP, right? How SAP, why SAP, and all these things, we'll understand why this ERP systems. And most importantly, if you want to understand one more, the functionality, for us to manage all this, obviously we need HR, I mean, the overall human resource management, people are the men we need, right? That you call it as your overall module of your, what do you say? Your HCM module. There is a one module called HCM, which is a human capital management, which is one of the common thing. Okay, which is a HCM. These are the very common modules wherever you see SAP is implemented or any ERP system is implemented. Majoritarily, these are the first requirement. Every company will look for it. What they will do first, they will analyze and see which ERP system can help me better to manage all these departments' data, all these departments' functionalities are the data. Now they will try to evaluate one by one. Obviously, whenever somebody wanted to buy something, it's not simply I'll go and buy whatever I need. If it is like regular use and a small money, I don't even compare much, and that's okay. Go ahead, right? If you wanted to buy a chocolate for your kid, you may not do much research. On the go, you buy a chocolate and go on. But spending on ERP is not like a chocolate, right? It is like millions of dollars a company has to invest on it. On top of that, it takes a transition or the planning and everything, couple of years for them to manage it. Huge investment, huge time. And once it gets any, if are not able to successfully complete, if there's any problem, there is a huge loss for them in a business also. because they will not be able to manage it, all the stakeholders, your customers, your vendors, and everything. On the midway, if you left it, everything is lost for them. So carefully, businesses will evaluate and take a decision which ERP system to choose. Out of which, let's say, for example, if I want to go with any ERP system, I'm not in the favor of SAP at this moment. I just wanted to understand overall, how should I choose my ERP system? Now they will choose why ERP system. Now you see this many departments I have. Now I wanted to know the most important thing is I have in a multiple locations. It's not just in one location I have my office. I have across the country and also across the globe I have in multiple countries. Now I need to understand how can I bring this as one source of truth? All the data should be available in one place. If I ask anybody, one person, that person should be able to tell me what is happening in Australia, what is happening in US. I'm not talking about the politics there. I'm talking about my operations in respective countries. What is happening in that respective countries? And can I integrate all the transactions? Whatever happened in India, I wanted to integrate with other countries and also see, because I have transferred some of my raw materials to other country to manufacture in that country. I send some raw material from my India to, let's say maybe to Thailand or to Philippines, where I get a cheap labor in other countries. There people will do the assembly. From there, I will do the labeling and everything, and I'll export to other country to sales. Maybe that product has a lot of demand in, for example, US, Canada, and Mexico. I wanted to export it there. Now your sales are happening from that country location. Your Mexico office, US office, Canada offices are selling it. Now I wanted to see all these transactions are getting integrated, and I wanted to automate all these processes. I don't want to do this manually one by one. When all of them are integrated and automated, even a lot of time gets saved, and you can see the faster reporting as well, which is available. You can quickly get the reports, whatever the report that you wanted to know. By end of the day, how much material you have transferred, how many has been manufactured, or how many has been assembled, how many has been sold. Everything you will be able to see the faster reporting phase. And also you need to make sure which is global compliance, right? And whenever you are doing business in multiple countries, you need to follow global compliance as well. For that reason as well, you need to maintain sophisticated system, which where system can detect and say that, hey, you are going wrong somewhere. Make sure you check this thing, right? If it is a human beings, it's a very quite common that we might miss, or by too many things when we are handling it, we might miss certain points. We might compromise in certain cases for any other reasons as well. If it is a system, you cannot bribe system, right? You cannot say that, hey, I'll give you some money, please bypass this. It will not happen, obviously, right? That's what we need to make sure. The sophisticated system has to be there, which can help. That is where ERP systems comes handy to help with all this. Okay. Now, whenever it comes to ERP system selection, companies will look into all those things and choose the best system for them. Now, straight away, if I want to jump into SAP, right? If I want to talk about SAP, why SAP? Whenever I look into it, all these things, whatever I see here, these can be easily managed in SAP. Whatever the modules you have it, you can easily integrate all this, and you will be able to do the reporting and whatever the advantages that we spoke, everything can be easily achieved. So cost-wise, is it less cost when compared to other systems? May not be, though it is expensive, but companies are okay to spend for it. Though it is a little expensive software, companies are okay to fund it because it is going to be a long-term asset for them. They need to invest on it, which is going to help them to manage all the resources. If I don't have a proper tools, whatever the resources that I have, I might be losing in it. I might not be able to use efficiently. What if you have 100 employees working in your company, and because of your poor attendance system, it is showing that everybody is working, but your system was wrong and nobody is there in office. but somehow people are able to mark their attendance for the day, and you are sitting somewhere else and you see that, okay, everybody is working. Your system is wrong. System don't have proper controls. System is not able to handle properly, and not everybody is working. Then you are losing that. You are not able to use effectively all the resources. For that reason, you need to rely on certain systems. Though it is a little expensive, the systems can help you once you build that process. For that reason, companies will go for SAP because it can tightly integrate all the modules and can help you to operate or run your day-to-day activities. Okay, so that's the reason majority of the companies prefer SAP system. If you look into this nowadays, Fortune 500 companies, majority of Fortune 500 companies are using SAP systems as their ERP. Hope you guys know what is Fortune 500 companies, right? Throughout the globe, if I want to take top 500 companies, they are our Fortune 500 companies. Majority of Fortune 500 companies are using ERP systems. I mean, SAP as their primary ERP. Though they have other third-party tools for other small activities, but still the data they will integrate into SAP. For that reason, they are full-fledged implementing this SAP as their primary ERP system. Now, within the ERP, we are talking about multiple modules. We are going to start with FI module to learn, right? That is our core area that we are planning for now. Now, any questions so far about what is ERP system? What are the other ERP systems are there? What are these all modules about? Then we'll jump into what exactly SAP, the history of SAP and everything. This is a bit of introduction for you to know about history of ERP systems and the modules and the departments that we talk about it. All good so far? Perfect. If everything is good, I think if you don't have any questions, I'll jump into the next thing. Okay, let's see some charts. Let me refer. Yes, okay. Okay. Thanks for that confirming. Okay. Then silence always I'll consider no questions. In case you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot out whenever I ask for it. Now let's understand a bit about history of SAP now, right? What is exactly SAP, when it started, what exactly you're supposed to know. Then that will help us understand better what exactly I supposed to know, right? So let's understand a bit about SAP system, S4HANA, when S4HANA started, what exactly is there as on today, and what I supposed to know, all these things, right? 1 second. Just a second, sorry. Okay, now we are talking about history of SAP whenever we wanted to talk about history of SAP, right? So in history of SAP, we no need to go very deep about it. None of the interviews will test you whether you really know the history of SAP or not. None of the projects is bothered about it. But at a high level, just try to understand what do you mean by SAP, when it has started, and just for us to know a bit about history as well, right? Otherwise, it looks like we are learning something without knowing anything. With that intent, I would like to give you some idea about what is SAP. Whenever we talk about SAP, it also has the three-letter word SAP, some meaning to it. So anybody knows so far what is SAP that we are talking about? What do you mean by SAP? Okay, it is whenever we talk about SAP, right? It is called systems, applications, and products. Systems, applications, and products for what? In data processing. In the day-to-day data that we are using it, the companies, any organization that they have a lot of data that they wanted to process or manage on day-to-day basis. For them to manage this, there are some systems, there are some applications, and some products all together. Systems, applications, and products. in data processing. That is called your SAP. Okay. So that's SAP. In SAP, whenever I wanted to know more about this has founded in 1972 in Germany by five people. Five people, those are ex-IBMers by then. These are the people who found in 1972s. That was the first time they started about this SAP systems. Okay. Maybe let me do this. Okay. In 1972 is where it started, not directly the version that you see today. Maybe it was slightly a different version when they started. It was like single tier architecture. We call it as R1. SAP R1 was started in 1972. Let's say R1 system in 1972. Later, in R1, it has a very basic financial accounting functionality only. They didn't had a controlling module. They didn't had a PP module, PS module, MM. All these things were not there in 1972. Just a basic functionality, just like what is debit, what is credit, how to record the transactions, all your journal entries, how to prepare your financial statements. The simple, very simple, basic financial accounting system, which they framed it in 1972. Obviously, as and when they grow, I mean, as and when they wanted to improve, from there they started improving their system, right? So let's say, then they started with R2 system. So far they have only basic financial accounting so far. So I'm not able to see a larger picture what is happening in company, but that is one of the need for the companies. When there is a need, if I'm not able to improve my product, there is no point, right? Though you are providing a services, you need to keep improve your product functionality day by day, the way we are providing it. Only then you can sustain in the market. Otherwise, someone else will take over or take over your position. You will not be able to continue in that competition. For that reason, you need to understand business requirements, and to meet that business requirement, you need to adjust your product functionalities, whatever you need to do it. That is where you see some products which started long back, still they are continuing. You can relate some products which they started. You can also relate, you can see some products which we used to see, they are no longer there now, right? So we need to understand that why some companies are shutting down, because they are not able to sustain in competition market, because you are not improving your product functionality, you are not giving something value to your customers what they are expecting it. Day by day there will be something new that you're supposed to improve. You're supposed to give them additional functionalities. There should be something new every day or every year. That is where companies also will expect. Every day there is change happening. We are expecting something new functionalities. Earlier there was no AI. Now every company will look for something AI as well. I wanted to know, I wanted to include AI in my business. How do I do that? Right? So whenever there is a new requirement, something like this AI, companies has to think about it. How can I involve AI? If I don't do that, someone else will do that. My business may go down. With that, SAP also, whenever they started in 1972, they started with a basic financial accounting. Maybe let me put that as well here, which will give you some idea. 1971, single tier architecture. And they had only basic financial accounting, what they started with. In later, after 8 years of it, like somewhere like in 1980s, when they realized, so for this many years I provided, I'm able to sell this product to this many customers. Obviously, they will get a feedback from them. Once they get a feedback, you need to understand what exactly you need to do that, right? After that, you need to improve your product based on the feedback that you received. How did they improve it? So far, I'm using single tier architecture, which is on a normal system that I'm, what do you say? I'm hosting this one. Going forward, this may not help because I have a huge customer base. The expectation changed. Later, they moved into mainframes. So they moved into mainframe based. All this, you no need to go very deep about it. Mainframes is one of the technology. where we can host certain softwares. Okay, and in mainframes they launched it. Then also they made it by to attract the large enterprises. So far, you had the basic financial accounting only in R1, but you are able to grab only small customers. But now I wanted to grab MNCs, the large companies. So that is what they did in 1980s. It has been used by large enterprises. And the most importantly for us to know, so they, what did they improve? Why did is it just because of mainframes the companies are wanted to use? Not really only on a mainframe. Mainframes is known for one of the high secured environment. Whoever wanted to implement something, it is on a mainframes. Okay. There are some disadvantages as on today if I talk about mainframes, but still on those days in 1980s, mainframes was one of the uh, top one for companies to start using it. Then most important thing is integration. Integrated their financials with logistics. Logistics they felt at that time was one of the core thing where we need to integrate both. Where you can see information in logistics is nothing but whatever you are sending out, whatever you are receiving, all those things has been merged where you can see the data in one place, right? So they improved this by 1980s. After that, from 1980 to 1990, almost, they've been using the same version, R2. In 1990s, they started with R3 version, somewhere like 1992. Until from then, 92 to 2010, the same R3 version is there. Okay. So let's say this, you call it as client server or three-tier architecture. So in three-tier architecture, let me put this R3 somewhere like 1992 until from 1992 to 2010. Okay, so this is like your client server or a three-tier architecture. So your three-tier architecture is what they started. In what do you mean by three-tier architecture? So far they had only single-tier architecture until here. From here they started R3 structure, which contains presentation layer, application layer, and database. Earlier, we used to put everything in one place. Going forward, they started putting into three different things like application. Sorry, maybe it starts with presentation and then application and database. This might look like a little boring because it is not so important for you to know, but that is still okay. Have some high level overview to know, right, which will help you. So this is your three-tier architecture where all the presentation happens in one side and the applications, you will have a separate applications you develop the database, which will store all the data separately. This was one of the major adoption happened after this in throughout the world. Majority of the companies came forward to start using it. The most importantly here what happened, so majority of the modules in R3 structure like your FI, SD, PP has been stabilized during this R3, if I want to say this. Okay, so modules like all this has been uh, stabilized during R3 phase. Okay, and also what happened from here, the companies have started using, let's say, from here, you can see that is where they started with GUI. So what is GUI? Graphical user interface. Currently, whatever we are using is a GUI based. So far from R1 and R2, they were using CUI, character user interface. Those who have seen already your DAS command. Maybe I can show you quickly how does it looks like. Maybe let me change my screen sharing so that you can see that. So let me know when you see this. Okay. So we are talking about, let's say, CMD. 1 second. So I hope some of you might have seen this or at least you got some chance to look into this, right? This is called your CUI interface. your GUI interface where you can click whatever you want. Now, if I want to click something, let's say I'm opening GUI, SAP GUI, where I'm using all the mouse clicks, I'll be able to click on this icon and I'll be able to see whatever I wanted to. I wanted to do something. You don't need to enter any commands here. You are directly choosing what you want, right? You can easily navigate using these clicks. But whereas in this one, you don't have that any option, no menus, nothing. If you wanted to know something, you wanted to enter here. I wanted to know the date, you need to say date here. Only then system will give you the date. If you wanted to know the time, you enter the time. Only then it gives you the time. Otherwise, it will not, right? If you wanted to close this, you need to say, or you wanted to erase all this, whatever you have in this, you need to say clear. Clear is not working. I think I don't remember exact command. Don't worry about it. But you need to enter some commands here. Only then it works. As an accountant, if you wanted to work with this kind of software, how easy it is. That's where the people has expressed dissatisfaction. Later, SAP has come up with this GUI. Whatever you see now, this is GUI. Now, currently, most of you who worked in an end user, you can relate this. How does it looks like? How easy it is compared to both of this? How easy it is, right? This is how SAP has come up with a GUI later in R3 version for a GUI based user experience. And after that, what happened? So after this, even after this, there will be still, is there an opportunity for me to improve, right? That's what continuous improvement will do it. You hear this continuous improvement always, right? In our offices also, management and the people always will be behind us and say that you need to do some continuous improvement from month on month. How can we do every month? I don't have any scope in my area to do it. That's what we might say it. But still they would look for it. That's where companies always look for continuous improvement, right? Always they wanted to do one or the other thing. Until R3, they were able to manage with GUI. Now, whatever we see GUI is also the base from this R3 version, which started in 2000. After that, the next version they came up with ECC, SAP ECC. What is ECC? Exactly, ERP Central Component. This is for a ERP to use. Let me give you that ERP Central Component. After your R3 version, the next version they started with ECC systems. In ECC system, it is a part of your SAP Business Suite. In SAP Business Suite, there are a lot of components. ECC is one of them they started, which has enhanced integration and which is heavily used maybe starting from 2005 to 2015. Until 2015, this ECC systems was there. And after that, what happened? Then later, there is a latest version they started with. I want to give you this, maybe some information to know. It's, let's say, it's a part of your SAP Business Suite, and also it has a lot of integration when they started in ECC, enhanced integration options. And they also came up with specific industry solution. Now I have telecom sector or pharmaceutical company or FMCG company or a manufacturers or a productions. So they came up with industry solutions as well in ECC. And if I want to say that, and during this 2005, in fact, they started somewhere like in 2005 itself. Though the R3 version was there from 1992 to 2010, they started improving this ECC or started giving this to the customers from 2005 itself. From 2005 to 2015, this ECC systems were heavily used. What happened after 2015? Now, are the companies are not using after 2015 ECC means? Of course, they are using it. There is still majority of the companies on ECC systems, and some companies are already moved into the latest version after ECC. That is what, let's look into that system now. What exactly we need to know. That is called SAP S4HANA. That is what we hear, right? S4HANA is the latest system that you see, which started from 2015. S4HANA started in 2015. This is the largest generation that we see so far. From 2015, it is 10 years, 2025, still we are on same S4 HANA. There is no change after that. S4 HANA is the latest, though we are calling it. It is there since last 10 years. It is not something which came yesterday or day before yesterday. But not that all the companies are using it. The only reason is every company will step back, watch, only then they will implement it. Not simply whenever there is a new product available, everybody wanted to use it, right? Now, let's say that whenever there is a new mobile phone releases in the market, people might be crazy to buy it. Whenever there is a new car releases, people might be crazy to buy it. That is okay to buy and use it, but the other people will think about the safety and other things. Okay, let other people drive and let me see that results, right? We might see that EV vehicles, when they came in, there were some incidents. People were very cautious about it. Similarly, it is an organization. There are a lot of customers, lot of vendors, lot of employees. I can't take that risk of it. Nobody will take that chance and simply implement it as soon as there is a latest version available. They will watch for certain years. For that reason also, it takes some time for that. That's the one step. And after, once they start implementing, it takes some more time for them to implement completely. Now from here, 2015, they started implementing S4 HANA. What are the key things that you can observe it here, right? So majorly, this is built on HANA. What is HANA here? Whatever we see this, HANA is their own database. SAP's own database is called HANA. Until ECC, they had various other databases also. They used to use their SAP's application and depending on somebody to store all their data in different database. There is a two systems I need to use it. Going forward, they decided I don't want to use other systems. Why can't I build my own database? I'll put everything in my database itself. So that my application, my database. That is where S4 HANA, that is the fourth generation. Until third generation, R3, we had this. And now I'm at fourth generation. So all my database, I'll use it. So I simply call it as S4 HANA, right? HANA is their own database. They started their own database, which is built only on HANA in-memory database. And what happens whenever it is our own database, it is kind of a real-time processing, which helps them to manage the real-time processing. If there is no delay, instantly you can get all the data. And also simplified data structures. All the tables, whatever you see in ECC has been reduced, majority of them in S4 HANA. We'll talk about this in detail later. So in a history, you don't need to worry much about it. And there is a lot of other changes happened in S4 HANA system. Now let's understand a quick things. Why companies are moving to S4 HANA? Why should I learn S4 HANA now? Can I learn still ECC? So S4 HANA helps companies to run faster reports, which is a very speed, live inventory and financial data, which is one of the crucial thing for them to know, simplified architecture overall, and better user experience. Like I compared and show you character user interface from other system versus GUI, which is a better user experience. And not just GUI. Along with that, they also introduced a Fury applications. Okay. And also embedded analytics. There are a lot of embedded analytics available. And compliance with the new regulations, whatever the new regulations available in any respective country, they have all that regulations also involved in that. Okay, so that's quick about for you to understand a bit about history. So far, we have S4 HANA system, the latest. We are currently evolving in within S4 HANA into cloud services. Within the cloud, we have a public cloud and private cloud. We'll talk about in detail about these two as well little later. For now, it might be confusing, too much of jargons and everything. For now, high level understand SAP started with R1, R2, R3 and ECC, and from 2015 S4 HANA. Here you can see in the Fury applications also introduced. The fully functioning from 2015, all the Fury applications. And after that, we also have other, what do you say? Along with the Fury, we'll hear a lot of other changes, what is there, and as and when we get into a deep discussion about these topics. Okay, this is a little bit about history of SAP so far, and also evaluation how they moved from one to other. With that, currently, like I mentioned, between 2005 to 15, majority companies used ECC. From 2015, when S4HANA has started, companies are slowly migrating. Like I mentioned, it is not so simple decision for them to move whenever there's a new product. Slowly they are moving. This migration will take few years for anybody. With that, there is a lot of demand going forward for S4HANA for next 30, 40 years, right? Simply they will not go. If you look into that historically, minimum phase was like a 10 years for one version to other version. Now the latest trend, latest technology is S4HANA. Already it is there for more than 10 years. Doesn't mean that simply they will change it. There is no further announcement yet from SAP. They are improving only S4HANA version itself. They are not coming up with any other next generation. This generation is going to be long, and they are improving within S4HANA because they already came up with their own database and everything. They are just improving the services they are offering it. Okay. With that, let me take a pause and let me know if you guys have any questions, anything that so far we discussed about it. Okay. I see some charts, no questions. Okay. All right. Okay. If no questions, I think we are good for the day. And we'll meet in our next class.